All right, happy week, whatever week you are in or doing. This is my week, I believe, 92 check-in, and I am going to share with you a little bit about things that have been going on in my mind and what direction I'm moving in. So I realize I'm 45 years old. That means I'm about at the 50% mark, 50% of my life kind of done, 50% of my life to come. And I have been thinking about what I want the next half of my life to look like. I look back at my younger years and I see such an obsession about food and about weight, and knowing when I look at a photograph how much I weighed in any given photo, and just kind of feeling a little bit sad about that because I don't really think that's how I wanted to be at the time, but that's all I kind of was focused on, I was obsessed with. And I started my journey 15 years ago. It's crazy, right? My son will be 15 this year. I started my journey 15 years ago for the last time. No more yo-yo dieting, total habit change, only doing things I'm willing to do long term. And I have practiced my habits a lot. I have done a really good job over the course of the last 10 years of really maintaining between the 150 and 160 mark. I had a little bit of a bump up there, I think it was in 2019, but aside from that, it's been pretty smooth sailing. And I have participated in the No Scale Challenge. I've gotten away from tracking and using the 8 app to journal my food with photos. And I am finding the more that I let go of weighing myself on a routine basis, obsessing about my calories and all that kind of stuff, I tend to feel more at peace. And when I think about the second half of my life, what I kind of want when I'm 90, looking back, is to just see that I'm enjoying the day and I don't necessarily have, oh yes, I weighed this on this day. I don't kind of want to be there anymore. And I'm just speaking from my heart, just speaking about what's going on. I kind of want to just be able to focus on the memories and the thoughts and have a different second half of my life. I also feel like the fear and the antsiness about it isn't there, because what I've noticed about myself, because I've practiced these habits so much, I've become way more in tune to my body. And I realize not everybody's there. So this is just, me going through my own experience. I don't like feeling overly full anymore. I used to love it. I used to love eating, or thinking I did, till I got to the point where I could just bust and had this like heaviness in my stomach. Now I don't like it. And that's crazy to me. It's also crazy to me that I don't make every excuse known to man to go out to eat like I used to. I actually prefer to eat my own food at home. It's also crazy to think that I don't want to just kind of hunker down on ice cream all the time, that certain ice creams feel a little too heavy to me or a little too thick. That's crazy, right? Like, I'm looking at myself and seeing how much I've really changed in all of this, from my relationship with food, my relationship to cooking. Really, when I started this, I didn't have many cooking skills. I'm just seeing a lot of growth and transformation that's happened on a personal, internal level over the last 15 years of doing everything. Calorie counting, macro counting, point counting, doing all the different exercise routines. And what I kind of want for the second half of my life is to maybe be a little bit more personally intuitive, because I feel like I'm more able to do that. There was a point where I couldn't. I was so overweight. I was so out of touch with normal hunger and fullness signals. I was, really had a huge binge eating issue. There was a lot of obstacles in the way of me getting to where I am now, that over time, and here's the thing I hope you take away from this. Everybody wants to be at a certain place like in a nanosecond. If I started out telling you, hey, yeah, you could have what you want, but you have to wait 15 years, most people just shut down. But that 15 years passed anyway. Like my son, again, baby one day, 15 the next day. Like, it happens that quick. And in there, I just kept working at it. I kept trying. I didn't give up. I just kept learning more and trying more and asking myself questions and not beating myself up when I made a mistake. I just was willing to continue the process, even when I screwed up, even when I was just kind of floundering around. I just kept going. And because of that, I've gotten to a place where I almost don't recognize myself anymore. Like, I am not the person who started this journey, but in some ways I've been afraid to admit that out loud. I've been afraid to say it's okay, that the number on the scale doesn't really matter that much. I mean, like, as long as I kind of stay in this healthy range of, 150, 160, I'm good. I don't really care how much I weigh on any given day because it doesn't affect my life. Like, I'm going to be active anyway. I'm going to wear the clothes I wear anyway. No point in this last 10 years have I not been able to fit in my clothes if I'm within that 10-pound range. So it's like knowing what I weigh on a day-to-day basis doesn't really matter to me anymore. Not like it used to. I used to be so afraid of what I was going to do, that I was going to screw it up, that I was going to gain all this weight back. But what I've kind of realized is the person who got to where she was with eating was a different person than I am today. Now, does that mean if my life massively shifts, I couldn't emotionally eat or do something like that? Of course, I'm human, right? But on the day-to-day, what seems to bring me joy and pleasure, it's getting in a good workout, walking, eating in a way that I don't feel bloated, don't feel stuffed, feel just right. And it makes it kind of an effortless thing to maintain within a certain range. So I don't need to obsess about those things. Anyway, I just share this for a couple reasons. One, talk it out loud for myself. Two, to make you aware that if you are consistent over time, things can change. You don't have to think it needs to happen in 6 months or a year or 21 days. And if you really at some point think, oh, could I ever get to a place where I don't track calories? Or could I ever get to a place where I'm not having to obsessively watch the scale and just eat, stop when I'm content, balance my weight? The answer is yes, you could. I don't know how long that timeline would be for you. I know for me, I'm feeling kind of at that place of comfort and ease now. But again, 15 years later. And if someone had said that to me at the beginning, I would have been like, 15 years, really? But what I realize is the time goes. And I can either be learning and changing and improving over that 15 years, becoming somebody different, micro bump by micro bump, right? Nothing grandiose, just little tweaks here, little tweaks there. And kind of becoming aware of what feels good in my body and not comparing myself to others who say they're somewhere I think I want to be or should be by this point. I let that go a long time ago. I just keep nudging myself down the line. And wherever Heather is, Heather is. So anyway, just want to share that. So moving forward for me, now that I'll be wrapping up this 30 days of no scale, I'll probably step on the scale once a week just to check in. But I'm not going to be obsessing about it every day. I'm not going to be putting it in happy scale like I was before, because in all fairness, I just want to kind of enjoy my life. The second half of my life, not necessarily knowing how much I weigh in any given photo, just remembering the day and kind of switching the story for myself a little bit. So anyway, I hope this brings you hope. I hope this brings you some ideas as to how when time passes and you keep working at things, things do change. And I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week. I will talk to you soon.